Mahiro and Hasuda rushed into the castle because Hasuda had caught the scent of Nyaruko and Thuko coming from that direction. When they arrived, they found Maruko and Thuko preparing to fight. Nyaruko told Mahiro and Hasuda to step back since she and Thuko needed to settle their discussion with fists. Thuko said that this was her destiny together with Nyaruko. Mahiro asked them to finish things quickly so they could go home and have dinner together. He reminded them that his mother's croquettes tasted way better than the ones he made himself. After that, Mahiro and Hasuda left to find Yoriko. Thuko mentioned that Mahiro was a good person. Hearing that, Nyaruko agreed and added that Mahiro was also her husband. Thuko said that growing up felt like sadness, and if Nyaruko had something she wanted to protect, it might also bring her downfall. They clashed using their powers. Thuko threw a strong punch, but Nyaruko dodged easily. Nyaruko leaped forward and kicked Thuko, but Thuko blocked it. Nyaruko admitted that Thuko was indeed a tough opponent. Thuko then asked if Nyaruko had changed, but Nyaruko replied that she didn't need to change in order to defeat her. At that moment, Nyaruko thought that if she lost, she would have no other choice. Thuko secretly admitted to herself that she never truly wanted to fight against Nyaruko. Nyaruko tossed several photos and claimed they were pictures of herself in a swimsuit. Distracted, Thuko lowered her guard and Nyaruko used that chance to land a solid blow, leaving her powerless. The photos Nyaruko had thrown were actually pictures of Mahiro. She quickly picked them back up and demanded that Thuko explain why she was siding with Louis. Thuko then declared that the loser should accept punishment, admitting her defeat. She spoke dramatically about giving herself up to Nyaruko, but Nyaruko was confused by this and insisted she had no intention of doing anything like that. Thuko pleaded to be treated like something disposable, asking Nyaruko to make sure she would never be able to step outside into the sunlight again. Shocked by her words, Nyaruko slapped her, telling her to stop with that kind of talk. Thuko admitted that the slap hurt, yet she reacted in a way that made Nyaruko even more frustrated. Nyaruko pressed her to reveal the real reason she had sided with Louis. Finally, Thuko whispered something into Nyaruko's ear that left her completely surprised. Meanwhile, Mahiro and Hasuda kept running until they reached another room. Together, they pushed the door open and found themselves inside what looked like a laboratory. Yoriko greeted Mahiro, but Louis asked if their arrival was meant to disrupt her plans. Mahiro demanded that she return his mother. Louis then asked if Mahiro would hand Yoriko over to Hasuda in exchange. Confused, Mahiro turned to Hasuda, but Hasuda had no idea what Louis was talking about. He explained that his father had only ordered him to find Yoriko. Louis was convinced that Hasuda was trying to steal hardware information from her company. Mahiro became even more confused, but then Yoriko pointed to a device in front of her, saying it was a game console. Louis explained that with the help of many housewives, her company would gain the upper hand in the console wars of the next generation. Mahiro realized in frustration that Louis had not kidnapped his mother for plutonium, but only because of video games. He was annoyed that the whole thing wasn't what he had imagined. Suddenly, Thuko came crashing down from above and Nyaruko landed in front of Mahiro. She explained the reason Thuko had betrayed them. Thuko was actually a devoted fan of Louis' company's products. To show her respect, Louis even called her Queen, which embarrassed Thuko greatly. Nyaruko explained that the game console from the Tholu company was called Suf, named after a star that Tholu had once come from before arriving on Earth. Louis revealed that Hasuda's father was a member of the CCE Council, bitter rivals of her own company. CCE stood for Carcosa Computer Entertainment, the developer of the HS3. Hasuda looked completely lost, unsure if his father really had anything to do with that, but Louis was convinced he was only pretending not to know. Louis declared that with Yoriko and Thuko on her side, her company held the winning cards. Mahiro finally realized that this was all a console war. Louis announced that their new machine, the South 731, would allow users to experience virtual reality by sending data directly from powerful servers into their brains. It had 3 times the specs of the HS3, unbeatable graphics, smooth controls, and downloadable content designed to reduce distribution costs. She claimed it was perfect. Hearing this, Thuko became so excited that she couldn't wait to buy one herself. Louis asked Yoriko what she thought about the peak technology of their company's latest project. To her surprise, Yoriko suspected that it might actually fail. Louis was shocked to hear this. Yoriko explained that based on the history of gaming, it was true that consoles with lower specs usually lost out. The higher the specs, the more expensive the production costs became, which made it hard for developers to release many games. On top of that, game stores made their money from selling games, so if they couldn't sell enough titles, just selling the console alone would never work. Louis then asked about Yoriko's promise to help her company, but Yoriko admitted that she never said she would. Louis was stunned to hear that. Mahiro asked what the real reason was for his mother showing up there. Yoriko replied that she was simply curious. Nyaruko laughed and said it was time for Louis to return Yoriko. Louis refused, saying that Yoriko did not belong to Nyaruko. Nyaruko then transformed into her true form, which frightened Louis. Just as Nyaruko was about to strike, Louis' phone suddenly rang. Nyaruko allowed her to pick it up. It turned out to be a call from the company's CEO, asking about the progress of SOF 731. Louis confidently reported that the project was going smoothly and almost finished, but the CEO informed her that SOF 731 had already been cancelled. Mahiro asked what was happening. Louis explained that SOF 731 had been pulled from the gaming industry, the project department was shut down, and she had been fired. Hearing this, Kuko burst into tears. Mahiro turned to Nyaruko, asking what they should do. Suddenly, Louis started laughing. She said she would never give up, and for her, this was far from over. She reactivated SOF 731, determined to prove its power so the CEO would accept it. As soon as Louis pressed a button, the entire room transformed into a new dimension, and several deep ones appeared before them. Louis was stunned since the office was supposed to be a restricted zone where outsiders could not enter. The creatures surrounded them. Nyaruko asked if Louis had summoned them, but she denied it. The creatures tried to attack Mahiro and Hasuda, but Nyaruko quickly kicked one away with full force. Hasuda speculated that the console might be transferring data from their brains into the game, letting them experience it as though they were inside it. Mahiro asked Louis what kind of game was running. Louis explained it was an action game where players turned into zombies and attacked humans. The creatures rushed toward Mahiro and Hasuda, but Yuriko swiftly threw a fork at them. In an instant, the monsters were paralyzed. Yuriko asked Louis if it was alright to eliminate them, but Louis begged her not to, since they were only hypnotized and not acting of their own will. Yuriko agreed and switched to using stun forks instead. With incredible speed, Yuriko threw her stun forks one after another, disabling the entire swarm. Mahiro was astonished and wondered aloud if his mother was showing some kind of special battle mode. In no time, Yuriko defeated all the creatures. Mahiro even remarked that there was no need for Nyaruko to transform since his mother had already taken care of everything. She insisted that she still wanted to deliver a dramatic victory by taking down the mastermind behind all this. Louis pleaded with her not to destroy the console, saying it was the result of her hard work and dedication, but Nyaruko argued that it was too dangerous to let it exist, and that her transformation gave her more than enough reason to deal with it. Just as Nyaruko was about to move forward and destroy it, Thuko stopped her. She asked Nyaruko to let her do it instead. Thuko admitted that she truly loved Xath, and if it had to be buried, she wanted it to be by her own hands. Nyaruko refused, saying she wanted a grand scene of destruction, but Mahiro intervened, telling Nyaruko to stop. Thuko apologized to the console, tears streaming down her face before finally smashing it to pieces. At that moment, Louis collapsed, devastated that her technology and research had been completely destroyed. After everything, Mahiro and the others returned to the beach. Mahiro felt foolish, while Yuriko seemed delighted simply because she had gotten to touch the console. Mahiro couldn't believe his mother would say something like that, especially after all the worry he and the others had gone through for her. Nyaruko mentioned that she would leave the matter to the Cthulhu Corporation, so the Planetary Defense Organization would not have to get involved. Thuko continued crying over the console, and Mahiro was confused why she was still mourning it. Hasuda gently told Mahiro that she was heading home and would ask her father not to involve Yuriko any further. Hasuda held Mahiro's hand and quickly said goodbye. After she left, Mahiro mentioned that Hasuda seemed like a strange girl. Nyaruko agreed with him and admitted that she had a bad feeling about Hasuda. The next day, Hasuda enrolled in Mahiro's school, something Nyaruko had already suspected. Tamao asked about Hasuda's connection to Mahiro since Hasuda used the Yasaka family name. With a shy face, Hasuda admitted that Mahiro was someone very important to her. Nyaruko immediately grabbed Hasuda by the collar, clearly upset by her words. Thuko, however, encouraged and supported Hasuda. Takahiko told Mahiro to be patient with all of this. One day, Mahiro and the others went to the beach together. Nyaruko invited Mahiro to swim since the water was so pleasant. Earlier, Yuriko had given them tickets to a hot spring resort she received from one of her customers. Nyaruko was excited about going together, but Mahiro wasn't interested because he still felt exhausted after what happened in Roria. Yuriko insisted that he needed the hot springs to recover, especially since there was also a beach there. The ticket was for 8 people. After counting, they realized that including Shantak, they had 6 people, so they could invite 2 more friends. Nyaruko suggested Tamao and Takahiko. Mahiro intended to skip the trip, but Thuko and Nyaruko insisted he had to come. Suddenly, Tamao approached Mahiro and Takahiko. She wondered why Mahiro wasn't doing anything. Mahiro admitted he didn't feel like joining. Then Nyaruko and Hasuda showed up and pulled Mahiro along to play with them. Tamao began to wonder who Mahiro actually liked. Takahiko didn't know either and asked Tamao if she joined the trip because she was curious too. While everyone was playing, the group lifted Mahiro onto an inflatable float. Nyaruko thought of it as a chance to create special memories with him. Thuko wanted to use the vacation to experience a happy family-like time together with Nyaruko. Hasuda simply wanted to use the trip to grow closer to Mahiro. From a distance, Tamao watched and suspected that Nyaruko, Thuko, and Hasuda might be having playful but mischievous thoughts about Mahiro. Later in the evening, they all went to the hot spring. The boys and girls had separate baths, but Nyaruko didn't allow Hasuda to bathe with Mahiro, so Hasuda joined Shantak instead. While soaking, Nyaruko thought about wanting to present the best version of herself to Mahiro and cleaned every inch of her body carefully. Thuko had a similar thought, wanting to do the same for Nyaruko. That night, while Mahiro was asleep, he suddenly woke up to find Nyaruko sitting on top of him. She had gotten a little too close and started teasing him, making Mahiro panic. Thuko was also restless, wishing she could be closer to Nyaruko. Hasuda and Yoriko were asleep and dreaming, softly calling Mahiro's name. Nyaruko kept trying to express her feelings to Mahiro. He tried to stop her, but Nyaruko insisted on showing him how much she cared. Just as she leaned in to kiss him, Mahiro screamed loudly.